I am so excited about this evening. And this is the bit that I really like. This is the bit where I actually get to talk to all the artists and we come up with some useful stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited. So I have no idea who's on the call. If you didn't put your video on, I don't get to see you on my screen, but you can have video activated and switch it off if you don't actually, want to be there. But tonight we're going to make this into a real conversation. And it's going to be two-way. So be ready to be asked to unmute yourself if you want to actually join in. We're not going to force anybody to do anything, obviously. Um, but but tonight, Artist Online diving into social media for artists. So does everybody have access to the chat? If you go on the Zoom, there's a little chat button at the bottom, and I just want to make sure that everyone has access to that, because this is where if you want to speak up or have a specific question answered, or if you want us to talk about your specific social media account and give you some specifics, then that's where we will start. So hello everybody, thanks for being here. Where is everybody from? I can see the States being represented. I can see France. I can see the UK. Where's everybody on? Say hello to me in the chat. And can everybody access the chat? Is that let me see if I can put up the chat, because it's got comments. We've got the paint pourer there. We've got Susan, Gigi, Joanna, Sweden's here again. Woo! Excellent. All right, I'm going to move that out of the way so that I can focus on what I'm doing. I guess everyone can hear me okay, yeah? Yeah, okay, great. So social media, let's get down and dirty with the social media, because it's the go-to place for visibility. And it is where so many people struggle to know what to do. And then you start, and then it feels like it's taking a long time. It's suffocating, it's shouting into the void, it's time consuming, it's energy consuming. And then you stand back and you're looking there waiting for comments and hearing crickets and thinking, oh my God, why am I doing all this? This is so hard. So I want to switch that around tonight. So I'm really glad that we're here together and that we can do that. So who wants to talk social media, huh? We had some questions off the back of the first call that we did a couple of days ago. And so we had Ricky, Thelma, April, Gigi, Chris. I've had a look at all your social medias. Some of your artwork I know more than others. So who would like to talk about their social media? Chris, are you feeling chatty? I can see your little face there. If you're feeling chatty and if you're up for it, we can unmute you and you can be live. Let me see if I can do that. Hold on. The tech's always a bit of a laugh,
Yes,
right?
I've tried to ask to unmute.
Ask to unmute. Okay, Chris Pearson, can you unmute yourself?
I have.
Yay! Chris Pearson is in the house.
Technology, see?
Do you want to introduce yourself or shall I introduce you?
Well, I think you can see who I am. It's got my name and a picture.
Yeah, there you are, all smiling. So Chris Pearson is a British artist who lives in France. And I stumbled onto Chris's art. No, actually, Catherine stumbled onto your artwork last year before our very first exhibition. And she sent me, she said, oh, look, I've seen this really nice piece of art. Have a look. And I looked at this painting, this photograph of this painting, and I was like, oh my, this is not possible. This is the beach where I grew up, where I kind of spent all my summers with my grandparents. Like, there's something cosmic going on here. I've got to work with this artist. I've got to talk to him. And then, yeah, we got you in at our first show, and then we've kind of growing relationship. I'm big fan of your artwork.
That's very nice of you.
Excuse me.
No, I think if you want me to talk a little bit, I would say I am a professional full-time painter, have been for 35 years. Struggled on and off over the years, some years better than others, but it's what it is. This thing that we're talking about now is new to me. I think my problem with it is I think it's really difficult. I think like, for instance, if you take today, for example, I have been in the studio all day. I had to drag myself out to come and do this tonight. I want to paint. I don't want to be typing. I don't want to be making people follow me. I want to paint. That's what I do. Now, because this year I've done, well, you know, I've done over 20 exhibitions this year and shows and things this year. So I've been ultra busy with that, which gives me withdrawal symptoms anyway. So, so now I'm back in the studio. I mean, like, well, you know, today I've posted I think yesterday I post pictures on, I put it on Instagram, it feeds onto Facebook. I get the same 30 or 40 people initially following. It has picked up a lot, actually. Now, probably I might get 500 or 600 views on a video, not on a picture. When I put a picture up, I get 20 or 30 views. But when I put a video on, I get 500 or 600 views. So obviously the video is a much more successful way of working it than just putting a picture on. But my reason for putting a picture on Facebook is, although I have an online shop and gallery, it's much easier to steer people to Instagram. And I tend to just use it as an online gallery. So if I'm speaking to someone, I say, well, look on Instagram, and I know it's gone on Instagram and it's gone on Facebook. So everything I do goes onto those two medias, and I can use them as a tool, just as an extra gallery, if you like, which I think people quite often seem much happier to go on Instagram or Facebook than to tap on my link to get into my online gallery or shop, because it's more work. You know, it's harder to do. Stop talking now.
No. Well, I'm listening to all of that, and I think probably most people here can resonate with, actually, you are creators, you are artists, you're not computer tech people. So there's that disconnect between what you need to do and what you want to be doing. And yours is a perfect example, because people are on social media platform anyway. It's like speaking to someone who's in a shopping center, where compared to speaking to someone who's in the street. If someone's already in the shopping center, they're already going to go into shops, right? Which is why rents are higher in a shopping center than, you know, in a regular high street, right? So there's a couple of technical tweaks that you can do, which bring good long-term visibility on Instagram. The first one, like you said, the videos have more reach, but you also post pictures. Have you tried posting carousels of pictures? So multiple pictures on one post, one publication?
No, but
Okay.
because, for the very reason I said, I have no inclination to spend my evening sitting on the computer putting things together. Unfortunately, my brain is not kind of, I don't know, I just get no pleasure in it. It's no
satisfaction. Yeah.
No,
What about scheduling tools? Do you use any scheduling tools? Can you say to yourself, right, I'm gonna spend half a day, I'm gonna sacrifice half a day like this month, and I'm just gonna sit down and schedule stuff for the next month so that I never have to think about it and I can be in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I have, my son is a sculptor, but he runs his business purely online, and so, but he spends half of every day online, you know, and but he has a big following, and he sells, but he works so hard on that side of it to keep his presence. And like he said, he went away to do some business in Spain. He didn't go online for 2 weeks. When he came back, he virtually lost all his followers. And to rebuild, not lost his followers, but you know, the whatever it is, algorithms.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult to get. And even I've noticed it. If I don't do anything for a week, 2 weeks, the numbers drop off.
Yeah, consistency is key. It's one of the reasons people struggle with the growth is the consistency. You have to kind of feed the algorithm what it wants from you as a user who's trying to use the platform. So they want to know that if they push you forward, you're going to have new stuff to keep pushing forward. And the minute that you kind of drop off, that's penalized by the platform. I mean, I would say with one of the problems that, one of these difficulties that you're experiencing, the lack of interest in doing it, it's just not what you want to be doing. I think that ties in a little bit to Gigi's question the other night about your target audience and how you reach people on social media is a bit the same as having a real life conversation and finding the things you have in common, which then builds the relationship from this new person that you've met. And so, do you do things like setting up a tripod, filming you whilst you're working
Yeah, I
without
have done. I
thinking
mean, if you
about
look
it?
over my history of my stuff I've done, I did do it for a while. I was quite consistent with it.
How did that
Um,
feel? Sustainable, or did it feel like hard work?
well, it wasn't hard. I've actually got a camera with one of those things that takes a picture every 2 minutes or whatever, so I just leave it running. So I can do that. But more often than not, I'll get an idea in my head and I just want to paint, and I forget everything. I put my music on and I'm lost. It's only afterwards I think, oh shit, I forgot to turn that on.
A true artist soul. I'm pretty sure I can see everyone smiling and nodding. That is resonating hard across the board. We've got Joanna who's saying the same. Joanna who's in Sweden, who emphasizes. Yeah, I mean, when I think about your work, I can't help but feel that your target audience would resonate with some really simple content, which wouldn't necessarily be a distraction and taking you away from your painting. When people, the Côte Sauvage, the Saint-Georges Beach, all these places, they're very sensory places. And so the subject matter feels very alive for your buyers, right? And I think that's maybe something that you could layer in, when you go to look at the inspiration, when there's a particular storm on, or when you're going out there, maybe to take pictures before you sit down with your canvas in your studio. I think there you could easily create content which doesn't feel like it's encroaching on your creation, but it would
Sure.
speak to the people that you're communicating on social media. I can imagine walking on the beach, the painting that I have of yours that's in my bedroom, it's my absolute favorite beach in the world. And every time I look at it, I can almost feel the sand between my toes. And you get the occasional seashell there, the broken
Yeah,
pieces
yeah.
of oysters. These are really sensory things. And I think a lot of art buyers, people like me who are not, looking after, the tax benefits, or who are not necessarily culture buffs who, will shop at Sotheby's or something. For me, art is very sensory. And I think that tips me into needing to own this thing. It's part of the journey. And I think filming your feet walking on the waterline for 30 seconds and popping that onto Instagram.
Yeah, I agree. And I also, everybody keeps on telling me I should do a like a monthly news page thing, and as well
You
to try
can
and,
do. You can't
I don't
like
know. I don't know.
the
All these things are time consuming. The one thing I would say that I've been really successful with, which is a great little tip for anybody that does specific pictures of areas, what's been the most successful for me, for instance, I was down on the south of France and I did some paintings of the ports down there. I then came home, painted them, and then joined all the I Love groups for those ports, put my pictures on, and I pretty much sell every time.
yeah.
You're not
It's
allowed to sell on there, but you get someone who'll then say, "Oh, are they for sale?" Start
yeah.
the conversation. That's because it's a target audience. I'm picking on the people exactly the right people, I guess.
Yeah,
So
people
that,
who
I don't
have
mind doing that because I need to make a living.
yeah. Well, but it works because if people have an inherent interest and link to the subject matter, that's all you've kind of already narrowed down your field of potential buyers, and they're there, they're hot, they're interested, they love those places, and there's a place for them on their wall in their home because the wall space is precious. People don't have these great big massive houses everywhere that they're filling, and so people are discerning, I think.
But don't you think? Sorry, but don't you think? Like, for instance, you mentioned the other week, you mentioned TikTok. Now, I went on TikTok. You know, it made me feel very old. But I went on, I went on
We
TikTok.
all feel that when we go on TikTok. Like, don't feel bad.
But I don't know if you remember, I did that video of me reveal, and I dropped the painting accidentally.
I bet
And
they
I
love that.
and I put that on TikTok. Well, I had 10,000 views and not one new follower that week on my website.
Yeah.
Do you know?
But sometimes it's a numbers game, and sometimes, things get more traction than we think. TikTok is great for getting that exponential view, but are your buyers on TikTok? What would you get
No,
on
not
TikTok?
seems not.
Well, maybe or maybe not, I know, I think Catherine bought a piece of art she came across on TikTok when she was doing stuff. I'm pretty sure, was it that vase, the white and blue vase? You were like, oh, I found some amazing art on TikTok. And then I came across this thing and I just had to buy it. I was supposed to be working and I'm out there buying art.
Sucker for TikTok.
Yeah, it's
Anyway, I think I should let someone else have a little chat now.
Yeah, I just want to say, one last thing. Whoever else wants to talk about, make yourself known in the chat, and then we can unmute you to make sure that we can hear your questions and everything. I will say just one thing that you touched on. You said that the email list feels like hard work. It does feel like hard work, but
I know how important it is, and I do.
it's
Whenever
just
I
to go own your space on social media. And on social media, if your account gets hacked tomorrow, everything disappears.
Yeah, of
And when
course.
you look at how much work you put into it, if you have a mailing list,
But I do. Everybody that ever buys a painting off me, I demand an email address from them because I always say they're my babies and I want to know where they are. So I make people give me an email address. So at least I've got a mailing list of everybody that's bought one of my paintings.
That's great. So, the hardest thing to do to start a mailing list is actually to start that list. So if you've got those people starting a newsletter, it can be super simple. This is what I'm working on this month. What do you think of it? Just keep them thinking of you.
Yeah. And I use
You've
it
had
as an
some
invite list
amazing
to
newspaper
exhibitions.
interviews. You had some amazing interviews this year. You had some amazing exhibits. You sold masses. And all of that could have gone in newsletters. And, people like, oh, this artist is actually gaining in value. I better buy now, because otherwise he'll be too
I do use that line sometimes.
Yeah, and you should. Right. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, is that helpful? Talking about creating content in a way that doesn't encroach in your studio space. Is that something you could feel like you could try it and see?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to, as I say, if I can bring myself to do it, I can see the positive side of it. I can see that. I just got to force myself to find some pleasure in it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole, that's the important thing, right? It's so that it doesn't feel like hard work, so that it doesn't feel like it's intruding. But, you go out there and you're choosing what you're going to paint and you set up your stuff and, you might take photos and like you're there. And so I think maybe layering some of that in so that you're tapping into
Yeah.
the holiday makers that are targeting that. It's the equivalent of the Facebook groups, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're interested in that part of the world. Your buyers are interested in your subject matter. And so what else are they interested in? Well, they're interested in going there. They're interested in being on those beaches and feeling all that amazing air that we get over there. And so putting that forward would probably really speak to your buyers.
Yeah.
Gonna give it a try. Right. Who's next? Right, let me have a look in the chat. Catherine?
Simon was asking about tools and things to help you look like you're active, even if you're not on Instagram, and you're not actively on the account. Scheduling tools.
So yeah, there's a bunch of scheduling tools out there. If you don't want to have the pressure of having to have that consistency, because I know the consistency can be really hard. When you're focused on one thing, it's difficult to jump off and focus on something else. So there's a whole bunch of scheduling tools. I mean, we're big fans of Metrical, but there's a whole bunch. I mean, there's Buffer, and I mean, loads out there if you just Google social media scheduling tool, and most of them actually are free. You can usually start with a small account. I mean, there might be limitations into how far ahead you can schedule or what kind of stuff you can schedule, but all of them have got a free trial thing. So you can go on there, find one that suits you, and then you can put your stuff there. But for anybody who publishes just one post with a photo or just one reel, for example, try publishing a carousel. A carousel is one publication which has multiple visuals, multiple photos. And the reason why that's effective is because the algorithm is always trying to play around with the best content to put forward. And when you publish your carousel, it will have the first image that will show up first in the feed. And then if there are 3 images on the carousel, that same publication will be shown 3 times, each time showing a different slide as the first image on the feed. So mathematically, you will always get more views. So for example, if you're working on a piece, you could have, if it's a real site, because we've just spoken to Chris, so I've got this, his art in my mind, but you know, you could show a photo of the real place, a photo of the work in progress, and a photo of the finished piece or the almost finished piece. And that same post will get shown 3 times to the people who interact with your content. And the interaction isn't necessarily a physical interaction, a like or a comment. It can just be consuming it, taking the time to slide to see the next photo, reading the caption, you know, clicking on the 3 little dots to read more of the text. So mathematically, the platforms like it if you do that, because it makes the content go further. So that's like one tip that applies for everybody. We've tested it and it works. Okay, next question. Catherine, Chris has got a question. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay, I couldn't unmute myself to.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it under control.
Just a quick question about, you're talking about multiple. That's not like when I put something on Instagram, I sometimes do something as a reel where I put multiple things, and that's different though. That's not what you're talking about now.
That's right, because the reel is a video version of that. So you put different visuals together, which creates a video. The reel is always in a video format. And so when you do a post, but you add more than one image to that.
So just literally multiple, where it says multiple, in fact, like I did the other day, I actually put 2 on, just one of it on the stand and one of it close up. That's what you're talking about.
That's called a carousel.
Right.
And
you can mute me now. That was my question.
Yeah, the more of those images you tack on to that post, the more visibility that particular post will get. So it's particularly effective if you use it to launch a piece of art or launching a collection, but it can also be a really great way to build a bridge between the interests of your potential buyers, people who go to Royan and who will buy a painting of the port of Royan, for instance. And then you can have some iconic things like the Royan food market, you know, with all the seafood spread, or you could just have a picture of some seashells you found on the beach. But having those multiple images on that one post feeds something into the social media platform, which they appreciate, and they kind of send it out some more. Okay.
So John was asking, when's the best time to post?
The best time to post is, I look at it a little bit like planting a tree. You know, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. If you want a tree today, 20 years ago. But the next best time is today and now. It's better to be consistent And sometimes with some target markets, there are specific times that you can identify. So a lot of people now will scroll on their phone super early in the morning on their way to work. People in big cities who are commuting on the tube, on the tram, on the bus, they're going to be scrolling their phone whilst they're waiting for that tube. So historically, people would say, oh, post in the evenings, people are on the phone in the evenings. But there's a certain crowd, that picks up the phone first thing in the morning and that looks at their phone first thing in the morning. If you're using a scheduling tool, the scheduling tool will often do an analysis and will say to you, actually, your subscribers are most active at this time, publish then for most traction. Because it's not an exact science, it's very subjective. And the interaction around what you publish is much more important than the time at which you publish it. There's some like little technical tips I'm dying to give you about that as well, but I'll wait and see. I want to answer your questions first before I throw new stuff at you. So,
Any other questions, anybody? We've got some from the last call. What do we got here? How to find my target audience. Did we do that one yet?
no, okay. So I think Gigi asked that about, who are the buyers, who are the target audience. So the target audience, to identify your target audience, you have to think about what you've got in common. You've got to think about what your art has in common with the things that are of interest. So, for example, April, who's stateside and who does these amazing sunsets. There's something sensory about the sunset, and somebody who enjoys watching a sunset could probably sit through a reel with some appropriately chosen music and something simple like breathe for a minute and enjoy this sunset with me. Yeah. So in terms of creation, it's not necessarily you have to photograph every piece of art or you have to be front of camera. You have to connect with what speaks to your potential buyer. And it can be sometimes a little bit awkward to jump into the shoes of this other person because you're coming from a place of creation and giving. And all of a sudden you have to be in the shoes of the person who's receiving, right? The intent, the emotions, the colors, all the things that go with art. And so how you find your target audience is by connecting those common points. That's the what you should publish side of it. And then there's the actually going out and talking to those people. That's the interaction side of it. And the authentic and genuine social interaction is the most valuable thing that you can do on social media. You can post all the content in the world. If you don't reply to comments, if you don't go out there and search out people you want to connect with, you will be shouting into the void, much the same way as if you go to a bar, and you open the door and you go, hi, I'm here. Does anybody want to buy my art? That is not going to go the same way as if you go in there and you chat to a few people and it turns out that you both holiday at the same place and actually it's your favorite place in the world. And so you paint those places and then they're going to ask to see your art. And mathematically, at some point after having 100 of these conversations, there will be 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 100. Okay, we're talking in percentages now, but they will be genuinely interested and they will want to buy. But social media has become so crowded and it feels like such an obligation to go on there and produce this content and have this picture perfect feed that we've forgotten what the appeal and the root cause of social media is. People go on social media, they want to be seen, they want to be understood, they have something to communicate with the world. And all of that communication for artists usually sits in the creation. And so it's hard to kind of switch over. But if you go onto accounts, for example, your subject matter is geographic, You can find the tourist feeds, the tourist accounts that serves that area, and you can regularly comment on their content. Oh, I love that place. I painted it last year and sold the painting, and I love going there to be inspired to paint. There's a real person the other side of that account who will notice your name, who will respond to you. When they respond to your comment, it activates your activity from your own account. And that again is seen favorably by the algorithm on the one hand. And on the other hand, it starts creating that personal link. So local news stations are great. Getting picked up by a local radio to do an interview. That wherever you are in the world, there's always someone out there who's talking about cultural stuff, human interest things. And so if you can kind of package what you're doing and make it easy for them to reach out to you, they will do so gladly. And that's how you get exponential reach. That's how it kind of grows. So that direct interaction, who are your potential buyers and what are they reading? And I like to call that breadcrumbs, because you're not selling to people. You're not aggressively, buy my art. And oh my God, I need to become a video editor specialist and I can't create today because I have to do social media. You can just go and be who you are. Just genuinely engage on there authentically. If you see stuff you like in something that's relevant to what you're doing, go and speak to those people. They will respond. They are waiting for the comments and the likes just the same as you are. And when you give them that, you plant that first seed of a relationship, which will then maybe build into something more directly with them or not. But if you've commented publicly something that's relevant and that passes the famous ick test. Remember I told you guys about the ick test the other day? It's got to feel good. If you wouldn't say it to someone, don't write it down, right? But that is the beginning of that reach, leaving little breadcrumbs, because there are millions of people on social media. And if they are someone who likes the region and they are a potential art buyer because they're redecorating their sitting room, and they see that there's an artist in that region who's commented on a tourist site saying that they did these amazing paintings, well, a little bird might catch that breadcrumb and go back to your profile and see all your content that speaks to them, not because it's one long sales list of all your artwork, but because it speaks to them and they resonate with it, and because it provides value for them. If you can make your buyers feel on the back of it from their phone what they feel when they're standing in front of your artwork, you are halfway to the sale. And that looks different for everybody, but it has got to be authentic. You cannot go against the tide and force yourself to create content that's always going to feel heavy and like hard work, because that's not sustainable. You can't be consistent if that's what you do. You've got to give yourself permission to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is how it feels good. Yes, I know I need to be on social media. I don't want to be editing fancy videos. You don't have to. There are different ways of approaching this, and it is about the interaction. How did you guys feel when we went and we found your art and we told you we loved your art? Made you want to talk to us, right? Because we wanted to work with cool artists, and we thought, okay, well, let's go and find some cool artists. Let's go and find some art that we like, and we want to work with these guys. Let's tell them. And so, yeah, the social aspect of social media is really important. And you can't be scared to put the offer out there as well. Some people have no problem getting the content posted, but then they never say it's for sale. And then the worst crime of all, they never make it possible for people to buy. There are so many hurdles. When you have a website or a mailing list with a buy it now button, because it can be as simple as that. You can have an email list and you just send out an email. I've done this piece of art. Click here if you want to buy it now. Something really simple like that. Literally 15 minutes to set up. Make it easy for people to sell to you, to buy from you, for you to sell to them. Sorry, so enthusiastic. It's like, oh my God, losing my words. But yeah, I think those are the big headlines. I can see there's been loads of
Those
chats.
questions.
Sorry, Catherine, let me check in with you. Tell me.
Well, you can have a read through. We've got our hashtags important. What about NFT people who try and chat to us? How do we ignore them politely or not? I just ignore them, Susan. I don't say anything to them. It's like,
Well, yeah, but you and I don't agree, Catherine,
I
right?
do sometimes say something and then they just scurry away. I've
So
got enough to do with my day.
there's two schools of thoughts here. So Catherine is just like, oh, they're idiots, let's just ignore them. And my school of thought is, yay, somebody's actually on my account. Let's reply to them and feed the beast, you know? It's a completely humorous approach. The problem with the NFT scams is that they really kind of do that ego stroking thing, right? They're kind of, oh my God, your art's amazing. We have buyers for it. And I remember thinking, okay, let's see where this goes. Let's try them. And yeah, it's great. They have multiple buyers, but first you have to sign up to their expensive thing. And then the buyers aren't there, but they don't care because they've got you roped into a thing, right? Um, Usually they're picked up by bots. There isn't even a human person who sort you out. They look for keywords. They look for they have certain criteria, and a robot is literally mining and just pebbling all those comments, usually until the account gets closed down for spamming, and then a new account pops up. You can just ignore them, or you can have fun with it. Like every so often, I'm like, let's go poke the bear, because you're gonna have some fun, right? And it feeds the algorithm, and how you reply to an NFT bot on a public comment um, can show who you are for your followers. They might not interact, but if they see comment, people are really nosy. They might just click on the comments, and it's okay to show who you are. It's okay to show who you are, and because people engage with people. Otherwise, it's just one long tedious advert, right? People engage with the fun thing. So the NFT people, how do you ignore them? Well, you can ignore them like Catherine, be zen, or you can be me and stir the pot and have a laugh with it. I think those are the two recommended options from our side, right, KK?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Okay, hashtags. Oh, sorry, hashtags. Hashtags are important on the one hand and completely useless in the other. As the technology advances, keywords in what you say are more important than hashtags. So you don't need to put the pound symbol and the actual word, but they are a way for the servers and computers of the social media platforms to organize your content and to feed it through. So posting an image on a post with no captions will systematically have less traction than if you write anything. If you then write something that's really pertinent, it helps the algorithm to send it to the right audience. So if you're painting Miami Beach, hashtag Miami Beach is helpful. And oh my God, I love going to Miami Beach is even more helpful. So hashtags in the hashtag format are useless nowadays. But if you think of what you say in terms of keywords, which is the original purpose of hashtags, that's how they become useful. Does that answer the question? You don't look convinced, Chris. I can see some. I can't see everybody on my screen, but I can see some of you, and I can see Chris not impressed with my answer. Come on, Chris, let me have it. Shall I unmute? Hold on, let me see if we can unmute you. Catherine, can we unmute Chris so that he can tell me what he doesn't like about what I said?
Nothing. I don't not like anything about what you said.
Oh, you
But
didn't
what I
like
would
any of
say,
it. It's all
what
nonsense. Not interested. Words, bloody words. I'm an artist.
just disagree with it all. That's all.
Yeah.
No, I
Like
just
morally, do you morally disagree with it, or do you just disagree with
no. I
what I'm
just have another
saying?
question. No, I don't
No,
morally
but it's a
disagree.
different
Well,
thing, right?
I have another question though connected to it, because
Okay.
what you're talking about now, what I tend to do is like, for instance, I put a picture on of Saint-Palais today, and so it was actually the Grand Coat, so I hashtag the Grand Coat, I hashtag Saint-Palais. Now I title that as well, and I title it, and then it says title, and then it says Saint-Palais Saumur. Now, is that titling more important than the hashtag then?
Not nowadays. Not at the moment. They keep changing where they search, but as long as it's in there somewhere. But in this instance, I would go one step further, and I would try to connect with local journalists or local venues at Saint-Palais. So not just hashtagging Saint-Palais, but Saint-Palais Casino, you know?
No, but I actually do. I already, like, for instance, I will put on, like today I put it on my thing, but I also put it on the I Love Saint-Palais websites and all that. Like I said, I always just as a matter of course do that, because I always tend to get more interest with that than I do
Yeah.
on my own website.
Well, it's just the visibility. It's just a numbers thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just mathematical. There's more people because there's like this big, yeah.
So therefore, I'm absolutely delighted with your answer. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Right, Catherine, hit me with the next question.
Scrolling back up again, scrolling. Okay, talking about
Oh, hold on. I can see something about marketing.
yeah,
Marketing campaign.
marketing
Oh,
campaign.
this is Zil. This is our extraordinary paint pourer who does beautiful busts. Hi, Liz. How are you? Right, a marketing campaign, is it still up to date or completely replaced by Insta or Facebook? Okay, a marketing campaign that you manage and control will be something that you manage and control. Instagram and Facebook, you don't own the property on there. You're you know, subject to Meta. You're subject to never being hacked. You're subject to never having something catastrophic happen on your social media. And I think that Instagram or Facebook should be integrated as part of a marketing campaign, but they are not a marketing campaign in their own right. There are different ways of marketing. I think I mentioned on Sunday that I work with an artist who's a complete technophobe, not a fan of social media, not a fan of showing themselves. And we're working on a very specific marketing campaign for her, which is designed around some PR. So we're putting together an interesting story that we're going to push out to various print outlets. And so that's what's appropriate and authentic for that artist. And it's really important that you all really hear that it's okay to be the artist that you are and to move forward with the business side of being an artist in a way that feels comfortable. And like, I'm not saying don't push yourself outside of your comfort zone, don't, but if something is consistently feeling heavy and difficult, don't do it. That's just going to make you feel bad about developing your art career, and it's going to make it all feel out of reach and too much like hard work. People are always going to like authenticity more. You can tell when someone's in their zone of genius, I think that comes across. So marketing campaign is still very much, it's important, and social media are tools of marketing yourself. And a marketing campaign is not getting one interview published in the local newspaper. It's getting multiple interviews. It's taking those interviews and sending them out into the world. And I know no one wants to hear it, but the truth is you need your email list, because those are people who actively want to hear from you. They actually have an interest. And so they, you can reach them directly and you can own that list. Like Chris said, he doesn't have a mailing list, but he does have a record of every person who's purchased something. So tomorrow he decides to send out a mailing list to launch a new collection. he has people to send that out to. So yeah, marketing campaign still good. It
Being
doesn't
asked,
have to be Insta or Facebook. I mean, some people are even on Insta and Facebook. Some artists work exclusively on Pinterest because they've established that their target audience are interior designers, and interior designers are hanging around on Pinterest, you know? So it's all about what works for you and who your target audience is. The first step is, who are you reaching and why should they care? What makes them feel good? What makes them want this art in their life?
so we're being asked now about setting up email lists, how you go about that, and GDPR implications as well.
Okay, so setting up an email list, again, there are lots of tools, most of which have free starter plans. So you can just start up, see if it works for you. You can write your emails in these simple softwares. You can program emails. And sorry, what was the other half of the question? I made the mistake
GDPR
of
implications.
Oh, the GDPR implications. Well, all of these operators, yeah, they're all up to speed. You know, there are laws. Obviously, don't just buy a list of emails and spam a bunch of people. Make sure that people are signing up for it voluntarily. You know, they have to be able to unsubscribe. And again, if you're using an automated tool, something like MailChimp or MailerLite, it's all pre-programmed. You know, there's an unsubscribe button, and when they click it, the software takes care of it. Doesn't have to take up bandwidth. You don't even have to receive the notification of someone who's unsubscribed if you don't want to, you know, to kind of feel personally neglected because they don't want to receive your emails, because, you know, people do things, it's generally about them. So you can even use that tool to shield yourself from things that might feel unpleasant, like people unsubscribing from your mailing list. But yeah, big fan of mailing list. But again, show up authentically. If you're not comfortable writing a great big long email and designing a sexy email, like, have you seen my emails? My emails are like, hi, this is this thing I've got to tell you about, you know, love you, bye. You know, there's nothing fancy about my emails. I mean, don't get me wrong, I tried. I started with the fancy, and it just felt so awkward. And ironically, when I stopped doing the fancy, people were like, oh, yeah, I'm actually talking to a real person here. So lean into who you are, show up as you are. This is the house that it needs foundations and it needs something to hold up the roof. But it's up to you whether you want brick or another finish, and what color you paint on the inside, and what your kitchen looks like. Like, you're in charge. It's okay to shape all these things to suit you.
Okay, so Simon's asking whether we can send from VPNs with Slacker Slacker laws. Sorry, I can't speak. Yeah, I think that's probably a no.
No, yeah, no, you can't. You have to represent yourself and be authentic and use. And that's why, if you use a platform for your mailing list, I mean, my personal favorite, the one we use, is MailerLite. Really intuitive to set stuff up, really easy to integrate photos and do all the sexy stuff on there. And they do, yeah, I think we're on their free plan, you know, they're perfectly adequate. But you have to be, again, authenticity, transparency. You have to register yourself properly on the platform, and you have to make sure that people can subscribe and unsubscribe. But it's a bit of a checklist. Once it's up, and kind of set up, you don't need to be losing sleep over it.
Joanna wants to know whether getting your is showing your face, does showing your face get you more views than just your art? Do you need to actually put yourself on the accounts? That's what she's saying.
Yes and no. So not necessarily showing your face. Although if you have a like a mindset glitch with showing your face, the mantra for that is my face is my fortune, and to help you kind of get over it. But if you just consciously, you just don't want to, and it doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it. There are different ways of connecting on a human level, and if you don't want to show your face, don't show your face. But connect on a human level differently. Maybe you're not showing your face, but you're doing a voiceover. So when we can see a reel of a painting in progress, we can hear you talking through. And that could just be your literal mumblings as you're genuinely working and as you're filming, or it can be a voiceover that you record where you're explaining what's going on, depending on what kind of content you want to do. Hold on, there's something. Susan. Hi, Susan. Susan Bridger. How do we even dare to do that? What was the context, Catherine?
About the bots, the NFT people.
Was it, the bots and the NFT? Yeah, you just got to know you're not dealing with a human person and not care. Was it about the bots, Susan, or was it about something else? Because we were talking about emails, right? Sending out emails or asking people
From
to
you,
send out.
Susan, if you want to.
Oh, hi, sorry, Susie.
Oh, see, oh my God, it's so nice to have a face to the name. Lovely. Yeah.
No, it was that whole thing of putting yourself out there and the whole thing of I'm an artist. Every time I had a real estate agent come through my house yesterday and he said, "Oh, do you paint?" And I said, "Yes, and I couldn't say it. It's just like,
Imposter syndrome.
I dabble. It's that whole thing of putting yourself out there. Even if I've sold loads of paintings. Not that I'm selling, when I say loads, for me, if I sell 3 a year,
Don't minimize.
it
Don't
doesn't
minimize.
matter. But, even if that whole thing of saying I'm an artist, for some of us is actually very hard to do. So to put ourselves out there, to send an email to people and say, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I'm an artist. Can you come and talk to me about what I do, or can I be part of your program or something?" It's really, really hard for some of us, especially for those of us who have not trained professionally as artists or don't have this as our primary way of earning money. That makes it even more cringy. And there's that whole thing of like I do watercolors. So if I say to people, I do watercolors, they kind of go, "Oh, that's nice," as if I'm an old lady doing like little paintings, tea paintings. And, it's really, really hard sometimes. And that was my question, was how do we have the guts to go out there? I personally find it really hard. And when
Okay.
I've been offered exhibitions, I've jumped on them, and then sometimes I've said no, because I feel like an imposter.
Well, I'm gonna give you a different spin on it, okay?
Okay.
I can't draw a straight line if my life depended on it. I have not one creative artistic bone in my body, and I need art on a sensory level to feel good.
Mm.
And if all you artists are all there hiding, how the hell am I getting money? Like, you have a moral obligation to step into those artist shoes and to just own it. And it's a muscle you're going to work. And like, it is what it is. It is okay. Do you create art? Yes, therefore you are an artist. Like, it's mathematical. It's not something you have to apologize for. Would you apologize for your amazing blonde hair? Oh, I'm sorry, I have blonde hair.
No, but I do often say, "I'm sorry, I don't know how to spell that. I'm blonde."
Okay, yeah, so stop doing that. I'm saying that as I think of my mother being called La Blonde by her partner. So
Blondes
yeah,
have no
these are
fun.
old
We all know
stereotypes.
that. We all know that.
Yeah, I think artists tend to be
It's very private art.
it is.
I don't know what other people.
Creative.
When I start painting, I can lose myself I put on the Rolling Stones, or I'll put on Bach, or whatever I feel like at that moment. And I can literally put my head up and it's 11 hours later. It's just, I go into a time warp and I lose myself. So it's a very private experience, I think, for many people. It's like, I really reacted to Chris early when he said, when he said, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to do something online, but then I have an idea of something I want to go and paint." So he'll just paint, and said, "I'm exactly the same. I hate doing social networks." But my son works in marketing in Paris. He said, "Mum, you basically don't have a choice. You have to do it." So I do, and I've got a couple of followers. And this summer, when I kind of just decided to go to the beach for a month and pretend that social media didn't exist, I lost about 20% of my following. They
Yeah.
just dropped off like flies. They just
Yeah,
dropped
and
off. 2,000 of them. Just, I don't know where that, maybe they were at the beach as well.
yeah,
They just
probably.
dropped away and there was nothing I could do about it. And for the first time, I just thought, oh, ouch, that hurt.
Yeah.
And it felt really personal. And then of course my first one was, oh, maybe they just don't like the way I'm painting at the moment and they're not interested. So straight away you go into that artist self-denigration and sort of like the auto-flagellation, straight away, and you can't help yourself. Huh?
Yeah, but you do know, like intellectually, it's just the algorithm, right? You stop feeding the
I do
bee,
know
so
that.
the
I do
bees
know
tend
that.
to be fed elsewhere. Like it has
I
nothing to
absolutely
do.
know
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Now,
I
I just want
absolutely.
to say it out there, make sure
Mm,
that if anybody is in the same situation, like know that it's not you. You are absolutely not being rejected by people and people, it's
mm,
just the robots, the algorithm doing its thing. They're looking to feed current. And that's why scheduling tools, I know some people say, oh, you can't schedule because it decreases your reach. It is
that's
better
not
to
true.
schedule. Yeah, it
Mm,
is better to schedule and to be consistent. And
mm,
also volume comes into it. Don't
mm,
publish for the sake of publishing, but do
mm,
maintain it. It is a business asset. And
mm,
you do have to, if you are on a platform, you have to feed the platform. It's up to you to choose which platform you want to be on. Obviously, with Facebook and Instagram being joined together under Meta, like that works quite well, especially if you then integrate WhatsApp and then have a shop on WhatsApp. Like you can have all three things working together. Um,
mm,
but yeah, the consistency, the need for consistency is real. And I think the imposter syndrome, I mean, everybody feels that, right?
mm.
Do you guys want to know what I was thinking before I came on the live on Sunday? Oh my God, no artists are gonna come and they're not gonna like what I'm telling them. And ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
And
completely.
then
No,
it
I
was
agree.
like, do you know what? This next call is going to be great because I'm going to do the bit that I love, which is actually, talk with these people and
Mm,
like work out the niggly bits and find some solutions and walk away from it. And so tonight, I am much more myself than I was on Sunday, and I
mm,
bet you can all feel that, right? Like the energy is different. Yeah. So do that for your like. You are all beautiful, amazing souls. And every time that you create a piece of art, a piece of that soul goes in there. Of course, it's going to feel vulnerable. It would be mad if it didn't. You just got to put on your big girl pants and just have faith that, you have a moral obligation. You've gone through all this creation, you've taken a piece of your soul and put it in something you've created, and then you're too scared to send it out into the world. And courage is just being scared and doing it anyway, right?
mm.
And
I think it takes some people more courage than what it does others, which
and I
is
think it
why
costs
somebody like
you.
me, when I'm, it's probably the professor in me, but when I see, I mean, I seem to connect with a lot of artists rather than buyers. Thank you. Um, but what I do is if I see a painting, I don't just press, like I always say to a new artist, oh, I'm really loving your use of a certain color, or gosh, really good brushwork today, or really interesting lines that you're using. God, beautiful, beautiful light. And one of the things I find is that so many artists are incapable of giving other artists compliments. So I also think it's our obligation as artists, from a moral perspective. God, now you've got me on my soapbox, Sophie. Is to also say to people, "Wow, I love that." It doesn't make you less of an artist if you tell somebody else you love their work.
Quite the
And
contrary. I agree with
and
you
I think
wholeheartedly.
it's so important. And to like, I seem to be in quite a lot of contact with the other Susie on Artist Online. And I mean, the two of us are just like always going, love your colors, love that orange. Oh God, love your use of purple there. We do it to each other all the time, and it is really nice.
It feels great, doesn't
It's a
it?
beautiful thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
really
that's
is.
what art
I'm
should
probably
be.
sounding a bit silly saying all that, but
You're not.
I truly believe that we have to hold each other up as well, because there is nothing worse than an artist who thinks he's superior to others because none of us are. We're all just grains of sand on the artist beach, really, aren't we?
Well,
Yeah.
I think 9 times out of 10 it comes from from a place of vulnerability and a very lacking mindset, scared that actually the places at the art table are limited and they don't necessarily, know how to work around that. But I agree with you. We should all be. Oh, a cat has entered the chat. Catherine's cat's turned up. I think we should all be singing each other's praises. And yeah, when you see something that you like, acknowledge it and build those relationships. I mean, some amazing collabs come on. And there's always going to be a certain percentage of artists on artists' radar, right? You're in the art space. So it's normal that you're coming across artists and that, a lot of people following you, it is inspirational, but art lovers also gravitate around artists. So if artists are attracted to your stuff and they're interacting on your stuff, the people that they have will see that interaction, and that means that you pop up on their radar. It's like a bit of a solar system, right?
Yeah, I live in Bordeaux, and Bordeaux's really funny about it. It's kind of a bit of a closed shop. And
Yeah, welcome to the art world everywhere. Yeah.
anyone who tries to break through there is just considered so, who do you think you are?
Yeah, I know.
it's
But
very, very funny.
Catherine and I have zero shame, and we are going to change the art world, and we're going to do it
Yeah.
differently because we like what you described much better. And I'm not a tortured artist. I will go out there and I will put myself up as a shield for you guys. Like, I don't care. It's, and it does feel vulnerable. I do understand that it feels vulnerable. And I think everybody feels that. It's a muscle that you have to work. You have to ease yourself around your discomfort. You have to find where the incremental step can be. And then you can practice. I am an artist. Should we do a mantra? Does everybody want to just should we unmute everybody and have a communal I am an artist? Because you are artists. Like, I've seen all your artworks, and yeah, you're an artist, it's undeniable. And I do think you have a look at the state of the world. You have a moral obligation to let your art out there.
We've done an hour now, so I don't know how much longer you want to carry on. But
Sorry.
We've got one question I've been nagged to answer, which was Simon was asking how we sell to hotels or cafes or dentists.
Exactly the same as you sell to everybody else, enthusiastically and ready to accept piles of money. The good thing, if you are looking at targeting commercial people, that's a really easy way to target a campaign. You can address buying, the buying manager or the actual manager of whatever facility is. And if you do that according to certain times in the financial year, you can remind them about all the tax advantages of buying art and displaying it, and kind of lean into that commercial aspect of it. It's always a good one. Obviously, if you're selling to businesses, depending on your volume, VAT and things might come into it. I would say treat that as you would any other business if you're specifically targeting that market. And if you're not necessarily targeting that market, but it is coming up in your buyers, treat them as you would any other buyer, with all the love and respect that a buyer of your piece of art needs, and taking care of the logistics stuff. You get the payment, they get their certificate of authenticity, their invoice, just go for it.
Okay, we've got no more questions, but if anyone has a question, put it in the chat.
Yeah, I can see there's been loads of comments. I'm really sorry, I haven't read them all.
No, it's all right. It's been quite chatty tonight.
Got a nice crowd tonight. We've got good global representation here.
Okay.
Simon, UK, Zimbabwe, South Africa.
Question about certificates of authenticity, best place to download models.
We've got one kicking around, right? Should we email it to everyone or stick it on our site to download or something?
Yeah.
We'll get a certificate. Hold on, let me write it down so I don't forget, because I'm just like, oh, I'm speaking to everybody and having fun, so I know. Cert of auth. yeah, we can just email it. I don't know. Are you guys opening emails and like checking emails? Is email a good thing? Or should I put it somewhere to download something? We've got one. We can get one ready for you. Probably get that up tomorrow. Ooh, any other questions? I'm having so much fun.
We're going to tell them what we're going to do on Thursday. What we're going to be telling everybody.
Hold on, let me just read through. On Thursday, yeah, on Thursday, I'm going to come at you with all the solutions to all your problems as artists. We got basically with Catherine, we're kind of identifying some artists that we really want to work with because we're at the beginning of our journey with Artist Online, right? And we know we want to change the art world. We know that, you know, there's all the gatekeeping going on and there's that discomfort and that vulnerability, and you don't want to be on social media. So we're gonna, oh God, I can't talk to you guys about this already, can I? Yeah, on Thursday, we're gonna like put that in place basically. So if you can come on Thursday, it'll be amazing because yeah, we're working on something. But we promised tonight was about social media. So let's just stay on target and see, like, are there any other social media questions, burning questions out there? I think I think it was Ricky that said showing yourself can be fun. Was that you, Ricky?
What's Ricky?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's seen our ridiculous videos, right?
Well, actually, again, the more we have fun with it, the better it is. But it's only fun when we ease into it. And I think when you see our social media stuff, is when like you can see if we're just like, oh, we have to create content, or if we're just like, haha, this is us. Because if you look closely, Catherine looks really uncomfortable, and I am just clowning around, and Catherine's just like, and yeah, so we are who we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, but you know, when we spent however long it was the other day videoing all that stuff to put in our little podcast series, by the end of the day, we were mucking around so much. That's when we got all our best content, right?
Yeah, all the best content. We stopped overthinking it. It was just Catherine and Sophie having a chat and a laugh, and
Kept the camera running and we're just mucking around at the end, weren't we?
yeah, just look at like us now. It's not like we're kind of, you know, I'm in my sitting room, kind of wearing a
I think you
cardigan.
saw some of the outtakes, Simon, didn't you? When we were being very, very rude about things. That was Sophie, that wasn't me.
Yes, because I am a little bit rude. Everybody knows that about me, and yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta love it or just, you know, not. But I am what I am, right?
exactly.
Ah, right. Any other? Yeah, Susan, see, Chris, I don't know if everybody's keeping a track on everyone else's. Did you see, Susan, that Chris told you your works are lovely and that you need to be confident and proud? And like, I personally love Chris's stuff. Like I said, I own two of his pieces, one of which is at the foot of my bed, and it's the first thing I see every day when I wake up and the last thing I see when I switch my light off. So you can take his compliments like to the bank, honestly. What else? Oh, I wish I'd had a chance to read all the like all the chat things. I'm sorry. Outtakes, yeah, rude is refreshing.
Want to hear? Okay, we want to hear Ricky's
Oh,
accent.
Ricky says that. Hold on. Ricky said that I'd like her southern accent. Ricky, are you okay coming on the live? Like, can I unmute you and come?
She's
Oh,
going to show now.
let's see. Let's hear that southern accent. I can't hear you.
No.
No, I can't hear
Put your
you. I
audio
don't know.
switched off, maybe.
Maybe your volume's down or an audio switched off. All the way from the States. No, can't hear you. Oh, I can't hear the accent. You teased me with the accent now, and I don't get to hear it because of the tech. Oh, and now it's glitching. No. Can we try again, Ricky? I'd love to hear you.
No,
I
can't
think
hear.
our connection's dodgy.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, well, another time.
Thursday, Ricky, you will be forced to speak. You've got like 48 hours to test your thing. You're frozen on the screen now. I can see you on the screen and you're frozen. So I think the connection's gone. I hope you can still hear us.
Yeah, she's gone.
Oh, yeah, I think her connection dropped out. I didn't see who everybody else was here. Is there anybody else who'd like to come on and ask a question or say something? Or I'll see in the chat. I don't know, Catherine, is there anything coming up?
No, nothing at the moment.
Has any of this stuff been helpful? Yeah. Is there anything else that I can prepare and send you guys, like the certificate of authenticity? Is there anything else that would be handy for you? Like, if you had to write an interview about yourself tomorrow, like to send to a newspaper, would you want like a bunch of interview questions to have a starting point, or a social media checklist? Like, is there anything that I can pull together? Because we have got so many resources, and yeah, we will really want to help out.
Emailing tools, question lists.
Okay.
What kind of questions, Susie?
For an interview questions list. Okay, yeah. And the selling tools. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. So I think if there are no more questions. Oh, hi, Dom. Dom said hi. Hi, Dom. We have Dom in the UK. Is she there? Is she there, Simon? Oh, she's not there. Okay, she's up there. Okay. Well, tell her I said hi. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming along. We're going to do one more of these because, well, this is the week we're talking to artists, right? We're kind of going out there and doing our thing, Catherine, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to do one more of these on Thursday, same time, same place. If you've got any questions or any resources or anything that you can think of between now and then, email us, hit us up on social media, like all the things, because yeah, hopefully Thursday is where we put all the bits together. Or hold on, I don't know if Simon,
Saying bye-bye.
did you have a question, or is this recorded? Yes, this call's been recorded, and we put it on the same place as where we put the list of the things, and there'll be a link. Like, I send out an email tomorrow with it saying you can catch the replay if there's anything that you want to go over and kind of cover again, or if something that we spoke about kind of spoke to you, but you need a little bit more help to personalize it. So, in terms of the social media content or any of that kind of stuff, just reach out, let us know. We are here for it. This is the week. This is the artist week. We're going to love them. We're going to love them until they create more art and sell all the art. And make mailing lists. Oh my God, you people are going to have to make mailing lists. I will help you, but you've got to do mailing lists. Right. I think on that note, I'm going to bid all of you a fantastic rest of the evening or afternoon for people who are stateside. Thank you all so much for coming along. I've had a blast. It's nice to talk to you guys. See, we need more artists. I need more artists. I love artists. Right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.